The 2S-25 Sprut-SD self-propelled anti-tank gun and its successor, the 2S-25M Sprut-SDM1 are among the most intriguing weapon systems today. Due to their general design, they are similar to a light tank, but they were developed for a different job. So the Russian defines them differently. As the weapon detective, we are investigating the 2S-25 Sprut-SD and 2S-25M Sprut-SDM1, the firepower of the Russian airborne forces. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel before we start, and give us a thumbs up if you like our video. To be notified of our new video, please click the bell button. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel. The 2S-25 Sprut-SD self-propelled anti-tank gun, shortly SPATG, is a unique weapon system. This airdroppable vehicle has high maneuverability and high firepower. However, this is not a fully mature program yet. Now, Russia is working on the successor of the 2S-25, the 2S-25M. To better understand the Sprut-SD, let's briefly look at the historical background. The USSR became one of the first to see the value of the airborne assault concept. In 1930, the Soviet armed forces conducted a large-scale experimental airborne operation. The result was satisfactory. After that, the USSR quickly established a significant airborne force. Also, to support its paratroopers with armored vehicles, in 1935, the Soviet armed forces strapped T-27 tankettes underneath heavy bombers and landed them on airfields. After a while, the USSR began some trials to parachute tanks. Despite all these efforts, during the Second World War, the Russians could not use their paratroopers effectively as the Germans, American, or British. Yet, the USSR continued to work on some unusual but unsuccessful projects, such as Antonov A-40 Krylia Tanka. This was a set of biplane wings and twin-boom tail that could be fitted to turn a T-60 tank into a glider. In 1944, the USSR turned to more conventional designs, such as the ASU-76. This vehicle could not reach the serial production level, but paved the way for the development of the ASU-57. The ASU-57 was followed by the ASU-85. But these two turretless vehicles had inadequate firepower for anti-tank role. In the early 1970s, the USSR introduced the BMD and BTR-RD robot. The BMD, later renamed as BMD-1, had a 73mm recoilless gun and the 9M14 Malyutka missiles, whose NATO reporting name is AT-3 Sagar. The BTR-RD was an anti-tank missile carrier, and it carried 9M111 Fagot or 9M113 Konkurs missiles, whose NATO reporting names are AT-4 Sipigat and AT-5 Spandrel, respectively. But they did not have sufficient anti-tank capability as required. However, in those years, the US airborne divisions had the M551 Sheridan, which had a turret. Despite its troublesome M81 gun, at least on the paper, this light tank offered more firepower than the Soviet counterparts. A program of the Soviet ground forces and naval infantry gave a solution to airborne forces. Since the late 1960s, the USSR had been working on the successor of the PT-76. These two branches of the Soviet armed forces were demanding a new amphibious light tank with a weight of no more than 15 tons, a 100mm gun capable of firing both armor-piercing rounds and guided anti-tank missiles, and an armor which can withstand 23mm armor-piercing ammunition at the front. The other main requirement was to have a speed of 70 km per hour on land and 12 in water. So, in the early 1980s, the Soviet engineers developed three different experimental vehicles, which were the Objekt 685, Objekt 788, and Objekt 934. Because the new light tank was also suitable for its requirements, the Soviet airborne forces was following these works closely. But in the same years, NATO had already begun to operate the M1 Abrams, Leopard 2, and the Challenger. So, the 100mm gun was now obsolete. In 1983, the airborne forces demanded the development of an Objekt 934-based new vehicle with a 125mm gun. 3 previous Object 934 prototypes were equipped with the new gun to prove the concept. In 1984, these vehicles successfully passed the tests. 1 year later, the development of the 2S25 Sprut-SD, which is based on the BMD-3, began. The hull of the vehicle was lengthened compared to the BMD-3, and one road wheel on each side was added. Due to the economic difficulties and uncertainty after the dissolution of the USSR, as well as the problems with the parachute jet landing system, the program experienced serious delays. After successful trials in 2001, Russia ordered the 2S25 in 2006. Initially, the Russian Airborne forces had planned to get 57 2S25s. Also, the Russian Naval Infantry had considered procuring 10 Sprut-SDs, but Moscow cancelled the program after 24 vehicles were delivered. There are some reasons for this decision. First of all, due to the delayed program schedule, some subsystems of the 2S25 are now out of date. For example, during this time, Russia has improved more advanced gun, fire control systems, communication systems, and sights. The Sprut-SD has the 2V06 2S diesel engine, also fitted to the BMD-4. But in 2008, due to fuel leakage, the engine of the BMD-4 caught fire just after a military parade in Moscow. Because of this reliability problem, Russia has turned to the UTD-29 engine for the new variant called the BMD-4M. Likewise, the production of the 2S25 fitted with the 2V06 2S diesel engine was terminated. Russia is now working on the 2S25M Sprut-SDM1, which is based on the BMD-4M and fitted with the UTD-29 engine. The prototype of the 2S25M was completed in 2015. 1 year later, the vehicle was unveiled. The new SPATG has a modern digital fire control system with more advanced sights, including thermal imaging. Thanks to its new software and hardware, the Sprut-SDM1 has network-centric warfare capability. Also, it has improved ballistic protection. The serial production of the 2S25M has not begun yet. The Russian Armed Forces defines the vehicle as an SPATG, not a light tank. So, as with all Russian self-propelled guns, the system is named with 2S code like 2S1 or 2S3. So the operational use of the 2S25 is not similar to a light tank, whose main mission definition is infantry fire support and reconnaissance. Even the commander and gunner sit on both sides of the driver when the vehicle is on the march. They get into the turret when the 2S25 is in firing position. The Sprut-SD is a pure-blood tank hunter. The 3-person crew of the 2S25 consists of the commander, driver, and gunner. It is 9.77 meters long, 3.05 meters wide, and 2.72 meters high. The combat weight of the vehicle is 18 tons. The 510 horsepower 2V06 2S diesel engine provides a maximum road speed of 70 km per hour. The range of the 2S25 is 500 km. The vehicle can negotiate 0.8 meter vertical steps and 2.8 meter trenches. The Sprut-SD is amphibious and it can travel in the water at a speed of 10 km per hour. The armament consists of one 125mm 2A75 smoothbore gun and one 7.62mm coaxial PKT machine gun. Different from the 2S25, the M version has the 500 horsepower UTD-29 diesel engine. The main gun of the vehicle is the 125mm 2A46 M5. Also, besides the coaxial machine gun, the Sprut-SDM1 has a remote control weapon station with a PKT machine gun. So, its height is 3.05 meters. The main armament of the 2S25, the 125mm 2A75 smoothbore gun, is a modified version of the 2A46 used on the T-72B, T-80, and the T-90. Initially, the designers had planned to fit the gun with a muzzle brake. Later, they abandoned this plan. The 2S25 has a new recoil mechanism which increases the recoil travel from 700 to 740 mm to reduce the recoil effect. Also, the hydropneumatic suspensions help absorb the recoil effect. The two-axis stabilized turret can turn 360 degrees. The elevation of the gun is between -5 to +15 degrees. The 2S25 can fire when it's afloat, But in this situation, the gun can traverse to just 35 degrees toward both sides. Both the commander and the gunner can independently direct and fire the gun. The two-axis stabilized commander side is coupled with a thermal imager as well as the laser designator for the guided anti-tank missile. The gunner side is coupled with the laser rangefinder. The Sprut-SD carries a total of 40 125mm rounds, including missiles. The autoloader holds 22 of them. In case of failure, it is possible to manually load the gun. In a standard mission, the 2S-25 carries 20 high explosive and 14 armor-piercing rounds, as well as 6 9K119M Reflex laser beam riding guided anti-tank missiles. The Bohr-launched 9K119M Reflex, whose NATO reporting name is AT-11 Sniper, has a maximum effective range of 5,000 meters. The tandem hollow charge warhead of the missile can penetrate 900mm thick steel armor reinforced with explosive reactive armor. It is also effective against low-flying, low-altitude air targets. The 3V BM-13 armor-piercing, fin-stabilized discarding sabot munition can penetrate 500mm thick steel armor. The road speed of the 2S-25 is 70 km per hour on the road, while its off-road speed is about 40 to 45 km per hour. Thanks to its aerodynamic suspension, which provides excellent cross-country performance, the driver can change the vehicle's ground clearance between 190 to 590 mm. Also, it is helpful to dampen the impact of hitting the ground during the para-dropping and the recoil effect during the fire. To improve the cross-country performance, the 2S-25 also has a hydraulic track tensioning mechanism. The vehicle can enter the water without any preparation, and it can swing at up to Sea State 3. The 2S-25's hull and turret armor is made of ballistic aluminum. The front sections are reinforced with steel plates. It provides protection against 12.7mm rounds on the front, as well as all-around protection against 7.62mm rounds and artillery shell splinters. Some sources claim that the front of the armor can resist 23mm rounds. The vehicle has CBRN protection. The Sprut-SD can be airdropped from an altitude of 400 to 1,500 meters, accompanied with the P260M device. During this process, the aircraft speed should be between 300 to 380 km per hour. The crew of the vehicle is inside when it's dropped. This feature allows nearly immediate combat readiness for the 2S-25 upon landing to provide high firepower alongside paratroopers. The vehicle can be airdropped from the IL-76 and AN-124 transport aircraft. Also, the 2S-25 can be transported on the underslung of the Mi-26 transport helicopter. Yes, there are many other airborne assault vehicles in the world. But with these features, the 2S-25 gives the Russian armed forces a matchless combination of high firepower, maneuverability, and tactical deployment advantage. It is the only airborne assault vehicle which has a gun that can deal with modern main battle tanks. It is one of the two airdroppable light tanks. The other one is the ZTQ-15, but the Chinese allegedly light tank is over 30 tons. Due to its high weight, it is very doubtful that the ZTQ-15 is a real airdroppable vehicle. This vehicle can be airdropped only with a low-altitude parachute extraction system at best. As a tracked airborne anti-tank vehicle, the German Wiesel is weakly armored. It can carry only a single-tube tow missile launcher. Also, it is not a secret that this vehicle is not airdroppable. Even the Pentagon has acknowledged that the M1128 MGS cannot meet the desired firepower and the strategic mobility requirements. So the USA is now working on the M8 MPF and Griffin II to replace them. But they will also be over 30 tons. So the winner of the US Army's Mobile Protected Firepower program will not combine the high firepower, maneuverability, and tactical deployment advantage as the 2S-25. So, for the foreseeable future, the Sprut-SD and its successor, the Sprut-SDM1, will stay unique. These systems and the concept have not been tested in real combat yet. We know that the 2S-25 has an engine problem. The Russian claim that the 2S-25M will overcome this problem and it will be more capable than its predecessor. On the paper, they look good. Yet, we have to wait to see the truth. Thanks for watching our video. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up if you liked our video. To be notified of our new videos, please click the bell button. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel.